Hi everyone, this is Lada from astrolada.com. I'm here with the wise Trifon Nikolov, Ancient Astrologer, Siderial Astrologer. We're using the actual constellations with him, and he's gonna take us through the lunar month from around the 16th of January till the 15th of February. Hi Trifon.
Hello everyone. Glad to be here again. So what about the lunar month? 2 days ago, the moon appeared in the sky, which is the real beginning of the lunar month according to ancient astrologers from Babylonia, Mesopotamia. So this was the first lunar day. It is important difference between the two systems. Today in the Western world, they consider the first lunar day to be the day when the sun and moon conjunct. But because in ancient times they considered that in that time the moon is still invisible, that it is in fact the last day. And so they look to the sky for the first appearance of the moon, usually before sunset. And from what they see, they consider what the month will be. And this time, the moon appeared in the constellation of Capricorn, which is a constellation of Saturn. And the whole lunar disk was visible because the moon appeared high in the sky. According to the rules of Mesopotamian astrology, ancient astrology, when the first visibility of the moon is with the full disk of the moon visible, this is considered to be the perfect lunar month.
And that's a very rare occurrence?
Yes, it's a relatively rare occurrence, of course. So, in this way, they thought that the month will be very good and is appropriate for new beginnings.
So we can all start new beginnings now, despite the eclipses?
At least they consider it to be so. And I think, of course, they are right because they are right for many things. And about the eclipses, we will talk later, but I don't think that this time the eclipses are so much important. You will see why. Of course, they have importance, but not so much, not so scary as in other times. And I'm talking about the eclipses that will happen this month, not for others. So the moon is showing that the month will be excellent. You can try new things. But of course, we will have to talk for each day to know the weaknesses and the strong sides. Also, there are other very important events in this lunar month, and it happens so that in the same time when the moon appeared, also Saturn appeared in the sky. He was, you remember, invisible for the last 2 months. He disappeared in the end of November.
Oh, I felt it.
Causing a lot of events. And many things happened too this time. For example, in USA, I read in the news, they discovered that a family in California they hold their kids in chains for many years.
Oh my God, I haven't heard that.
Around 10 children. And Saturn reveals this injustice and freedom. It is important because Saturn is the planet of slavery and chains, in fact, when it is bad position.
Saturn rules slavery and chains. And you mean this news came out when Saturn became visible a few days ago on the 18th?
Yes, yes, on the exact day of visibility.
So basically, when Saturn becomes visible, such kind of unfairness is exposed, because when it becomes visible, it comes to the consciousness of people.
Yes, Saturn is also the planet of justice. It is connected with oppression, but also with freedom, because he rules two signs. Capricorn can be connected with oppression to some degree, and Aquarius, the second sign of him, with freedom. So he has two sides.
So it's like
Obviously,
the poison and the solution. He's both.
Yeah. This time, when a planet, the main rule is that when a planet is invisible, it is weak. And when a planet is weak, it causes a lot of problems. But because Saturn is exalted in the sign Libra of balance, harmony, and justice, now when Saturn appears along with the perfect moon, which must be important, from now on, for the upcoming months until he disappears again in the end of the year, we will have more security, will be more stable, and we can make the new beginnings, especially in business. Also, the people of the law will be more successful to give justice, which was not the case for the last 2 months.
So justice was not being enforced well when Saturn was invisible.
Definitely not. A lot of cases show this.
And people ruled by Saturn, people with Capricorn or Aquarius ascendant or Sun or Moon to some degree, felt less energetic, able to manifest. Maybe there was certain, almost like invisible. I'm ruled by Saturn, and I even got quite sick, and I'm not used to being sick, and entered hospital. And it's like,
Exactly. Many people.
Actually,
yeah.
I entered hospital when Saturn became invisible, and I entered hospital a day before Saturn became visible again on the two phases, basically. So yeah, people ruled by Saturn, it becomes better for us now. So Capricorn, Aquarius, you know.
Yeah. So when Saturn is now visible, for many people, these are around 1/6 of all people. So really many people connected with Saturn. They will be stronger than before in any respect.
Why is it also good for starting business? Why
What?
is it also good for starting business? Because Saturn rules business and structure. So.
Because business needs security, you need to know what will be the logic of the events, what will happen. And when Saturn is invisible, there are no any limits, borders, no security, and anything can happen. And if you try, for example, let's say when people are born with invisible Saturn, in general in their life they struggle in work. There is a lot of exploitation and so on and so on. But
lack of
it's
boundaries of what is healthy and not healthy at work and
they're
career.
stable and secure in their work and their finances. But it is the opposite case when you have a visible Saturn in your chart. So obviously, this will be the model also now for the world. More security and stability in general for the business.
Yeah.
For the upcoming months. So, another planet, also a lot of events this month, because yesterday Mercury became invisible.
That's the 20th of January, we're saying, guys, in case, you know, Mercury became invisible.
Yes. So Mercury became invisible, and on this side, of the things, it will cause some troubles for other people, those that are connected with Mercury. He will be invisible for a short time, only until the end of February 2018.
Oh, that's a month and a half still.
Yeah. But, of course, this makes the time more difficult for the people that are connected with Mercury. A lot of professions and different people, like lawyers, for example. Any kind of contractors and traders, they must be more careful.
Traders, contractors.
People connected, like journalists, those that they have the profession connected with words. So journalists, writers, and so on, they can have a more difficult month, for
What
example.
about us astrologers that communicate?
Yeah, even some important figure may leave this world. Some important figure of the literature, for example, or journalism, can exit this world. I think even that yesterday in a hotel in Afghanistan, maybe they shoot 1 or 2 journalists.
Okay, so journalists, be careful. People of the written letter, people of the spoken letter, people that mostly work with words and communication and media, I would say, oh my God, be more careful in your activities because the planet that rules you is invisible. So maybe you might not be able to manifest exactly what you want or to material. Maybe you might need to retreat for a little bit, or there might be other problems.
And of course, it's a bad time to buy a new car or even used car. Yeah.
Mercury.
And not so good time for travel.
For travel overall either, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. Okay,
So
what usually happens? There's some blockages, there's some...
when Mercury disappears, there can be nerves, disputes, difficulty in understanding in general, and in communication.
Is that worse than Mercury retrograde? Because most people are afraid of Mercury retrograde, but it seems like Mercury invisible is the more difficult one.
I think here we have more difficult situation than Mercury retrograde. Because Mercury even does not exist in the sky from our point of view now. We cannot see him.
It's like dead, Mercury dead.
So he's somehow like a retired person. He is not acting so much for a couple of weeks.
Well, Mercury retrograde is like a rebellious teenager. Mercury invisible is Mercury retired, kind of. Okay.
On the other hand, all the people connected with Mercury will have strong spiritual advances and development, because in ancient times they believed that when a planet became invisible, it is on a council with the other gods.
With the main god, the sun.
Spiritual guidance. So Mercury now will receive spiritual guidance. It will deal more with the spiritual things than with the material things.
I can totally agree that while the planet that rules me, Saturn, was invisible for the past 2 months, I had a lot of inner realizations and a lot of, it was fantastic time for reading spiritual literature, understanding it, insights coming to the surface. So absolutely, people, when your planet is invisible, inner work. And that's when you get the best results of inner and spiritual, maybe retreating a little bit and looking within more.
Yes, and according to the ancient rules, because Saturn and Mercury at the same time are making phases, so the next 7 days are ruled by Saturn and Mercury together. So this is interesting.
That's around the 26th, 27th of...
Yes, until around 28.
28, okay.
28. And after that, On 1st of February, we will start to count the days before the appearance of another goddess.
Yay.
This time. Not the moon, but Venus will appear in the sky after being invisible from 10 December.
More than 2
months. These are very good news, of course. So she will start to rule the day starting from 1st of February because she will appear on 7th of February. And the 7 days before the appearance and after the appearance, they are connected strongly with Venus.
Venus is ruling the first 14 days of February. Perfect. The month of Venus, anyway. The month of love.
Exactly, exactly.
The people have better days on Valentine's Day this year.
Yes, many people, especially the women and young women, and everyone who is in love, no matter old or young, will feel better when Venus appears. Because now you all can see that the last 2 months, many people had much difficulties in relationships. Also important and famous women connected with the world of art, they struggled. Even some of them died. As you know, the leading vocalist of rock band Cranberries died a few days ago. Invisible Venus. But now Venus will appear.
I saw also a lot of women fighting. I've never paid attention before, but in my business, I work every day with so many women, and everywhere they were picking up fights. It was like it started like a month and a half ago. That's again the invisible Venus.
Yes, yes.
The women will come down after 7th of February. We need it.
Invisible Venus is somehow aggressive. In ancient times, it can be aggressive at least. In ancient times, it was considered a goddess of vengeance.
Oh, okay, that explains so much what I've been seeing.
Goddess of revenge.
They're just attacking each other and taking things personally, and in Vedic astrology, when Venus is close to the sun, we call it combust or burned by the sun. Frustrated is the same invisible Venus. It creates frustration because the sun is hot, it burns it. So there is frustrating energy around the sun, around Venus. So that people ruled by Venus, like Tauruses and Libra people, or women generally, just feel more frustrated and agitated. So that makes sense also from, yeah.
Yes, so the last 2 months, Venus bring vengeance and revenge. There was a tragedy that happened in Pakistan. A young girl and a boy were killed by their parents because they were in love.
Oh.
And they killed them. This was on the news. For example, in Guardian, you can read the story. So, and they killed them by electricity. The girl was 15, the boy around 17.
Oh.
And this happened when a few days after Venus disappeared from the sky. And a week later, after this killing, so unjust, a flood happened in the same city.
A flood?
A flood, yes. Flood that damaged the electricity system, and because of this, a lot of people died by electricity strikes.
I'm getting goosebumps now.
So this was the goddess of revenge.
Wow. So they killed someone because of love, Venus disappearing. Love got trampled on, and then Venus, the goddess of revenge back. Wow.
Yeah, this happened in Karachi. This is the name of the city. So now Venus will appear in the sky, and she will be, this time, she will turn to be not the goddess of revenge, but she will become the goddess of love, because she will appear in the evening And when Venus is visible in the night sky, it is considered to be the goddess of love and erotic and so on, everything connected with this. So
plan your dates 7 days before.
yes, this year, because most of the year Venus will be visible in that form, this year must be very good about love in general for the world. And this is start to happening right now from the beginning of February, especially from the 7th. The 7th is a very, very strong day about this.
Absolutely.
So we are awaiting, because of the influence of Venus, of course, much more love and harmony in our lives after 7th of February. So I think this is the good news for the moment.
And by the way, I just want to mention to someone, because some people were saying like, is 7 the exact date? Well, some countries you can see it a few days before, a few days after. Not always.
Yes, depending on how north or south you are living.
Yeah.
But in general, for Europe and USA, it will be for around this time.
Yeah.
So many other things will happen. For example, from a couple of days, we have Mars in the constellation of Scorpio. So this is a strong position for Mars, but maybe not so good in general, because Scorpio is considered to be a malefic sign and Mars a malefic planet. So this can bring more violence in the world in general, and especially in the Middle East, because the Middle East is considered to be, by the ancient authors, to be ruled by Scorpio, especially countries like Saudi Arabia, and right now there is a war. A lot of people dying, even young children. If you read the news, you will see, so obviously it will become even more cruel situation for the next 2 months, because Mars is in that sign. For many of us, Mars being in his own sign, in Scorpio, will also bring good things, because it will be like the ruler of a certain house becoming stronger. So if you have in your horoscope, for example, Scorpio on the ascendant, or ruling the moon or the sun, obviously, for the next 2 months, you will become much more stronger.
Power.
You feel better, even if hurting others.
You'll be an asshole, but you'll be achieving your goals and getting everything done.
So, the real Scorpios, which are considered, most of them, to be Sagittarius in the Western astrology, will become much more powerful and stronger. And some of them intend with intentions to do some not so good things. But in general, for the good people, it's good position. It will give them strength. So be careful with Mars. Mars is becoming stronger. Every time when Mars is becoming stronger, we must look upon our ego and anger inside, not to prevail.
Especially while Venus is still weak before it becomes visible on the 7th.
Yes, until 7th of February. This is
Balance it
especially
out
true.
with some diplomacy.
Yes, yeah, you are right, absolutely. So, Mars in Scorpio. Other side of Mars in Scorpio is it is important for many countries, but also for USA, because USA has rising sign Taurus and 7th house is Scorpio. And Mars, this way, the planet of conflicts is entering the house of peace and negotiations. And this way, the allies of US will have difficult time, and also the country itself, there will be more conflicts and controversy in general for the next 2 months. Even at times, maybe some more violence at some places. So a complicated period with a lot of conflicts in US. On the other hand, because the rising sign is Taurus and Venus is about to appear, at the same time, the country will become stronger.
So maybe they'll be in the bullying position. They become stronger, so they start pressuring their enemies and putting threats on.
It will be interesting also to see what will happen with in the financial world when Venus appears. So it's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea to invest probably on that day.
Oh, okay, in a positive way, not in a negative way. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So about the days, I mean every day that is coming, certain events will happen too. Today, right now, 21st of January, Mercury, even though it disappeared, is making a conjunct with a very spiritual star. So today is a good day about spirituality and making anything in the area of art, literature, and spiritual practices. Even about healing. Maybe even some unexplainable healing can happen. So you can use this spiritual energy today. Tomorrow, the Sun will make a conjunction. So this is 22nd of January. The Sun will make a conjunction with an important fixed star. And this star is the main star from the constellation Aquila, Eagle in English.
Altair.
So this star is considered to be a star of leadership. So it's a good day to start probably a new enterprise, new work project.
Wonderful. It's on my ascendant, exactly.
Or enter a rightful conflict. Yeah. On 24th of January, the Sun will make a conjunction with the stars that are posited in the horns of Capricorn. The stars are named Augedi, and the second one is named Debich. Some authors say that they are connected with passion, but also I have to add that those are stars of occult knowledge. So it's a good day to start to learn something new, and especially in occult sciences. Or to start a new project there, for some people.
Well, yes, because the horns of the goat, it's one of the most occult symbols. I mean, it's satanistic nowadays, but it's Pan as well, and it's well known.
Yes, it's a whole mythology behind the horns of Capricorn. Definitely. And in ancient books about fixed stars, they say that the horns are very much connected with fertility and sexuality. So a good days about this. Good days about
sexuality, but it has a positive way to be used. Great power.
Yes, it can be positive. For example, if someone has some difficulties in conceiving, maybe those stars can help. Who knows? And we have some bad news about 24th of January, the same day when the sun is there. But those bad news, they are more connected with the mundane astrology, with the world. And this is that the Mars, being in Scorpio constellation, will make an exact aspect. The aspect is square to the degree of the solar eclipse that happened in August last year.
So it can be activated. Activation of the solar
activation of the eclipse only after 3 days. And so the eclipse itself was in conjunction with Mars.
So Mars is a great player to activate it.
Yes, Mars is very important in the eclipse, and what to say?
Well, because everyone was asking, you know, astrologers made predictions that President Trump, the eclipse happened on his ascendant, that there might be something bad happening to him, but he's, you know, everything is okay, everything. But I guess there is still possibilities of.
I have not investigated so much on the chart of Trump to say when something bad can happen, if it is about to happen. But what I can say here is that there is a danger of calamities, natural disasters like earthquakes in countries connected with Leo and maybe with Scorpio. Those will be, for example, I noticed that the California is very much connected with Leo, according to my recent findings. So also countries like Italy and France, and Scorpio is connected with Syria and Turkey. So in those countries, there can happen something like this, and also violence.
Yes, but you know, when
Red light about terrorist attacks.
Oh, okay. So we have to be careful around those days. And to be honest, the eclipse happened in Leo, and California has been getting it so hard since that eclipse. Fires, and
yes, exactly. I noticed that California was influenced by the eclipse, and the activation now is coming again. Also, Mexico also was hit. So maybe again they have to be more careful.
But anyone who saw the eclipse on the path of the eclipse this August, basically, they, you know, anyone, it passed through the whole America, so I would stay probably.
Yes, it's definitely not a good sign, even about US in general. For this day, you are right, because the eclipse was visible in whole North America. So activation from Mars must make the people that are responsible for the security to be more careful.
Let's pray this passes us by. Okay.
So, dangerous day, 24th. Later, on 28th, again, we will be talking about Mars. There will be such position in the sky. This time it will be more complex, so I will not explain it long. But in short, it means that some of the rulers of the world, maybe even Donald Trump or someone else, they can have a big crisis, and also a day that can happen a lot of violence somewhere in the world. I already mentioned, because Mars is in Scorpio, this can happen in the East, in Arabian country, for example, or Syria, Turkey, Arabian countries, the Middle East.
Would you put the whole period from the 24th till the 28th with a bit of a red marker?
Yes. Yes, because we have on 31st, the last day of the month of January, we have eclipse, lunar eclipse. So this time I'm not stressing about the importance of the lunar eclipse because it will be not visible in Europe or in North America. It will be visible in a few countries on the south, and it will be important there. There can be some more troubles, but in fact, in general, this eclipse will be not so much visible for the whole world. And because it's not visible in US or in Europe, I don't think it is important.
Can I ask you something? Lunar eclipse happening. What about the personal life of people according to ancient astrology? If they don't live in a place where they can see, it can still affect and change their life?
They didn't mention this, but according to what I have investigated, when an eclipse is not visible, then it's not affecting you. Being person or country, no matter.
What if you just move for the eclipse for a holiday for 2 to 3 days and you don't see it? Is that escaping your fate? If you're going to be falling, say, on your ascendant or your sun,
Someone have to try this and to say later the results.
Yeah, someone should try it. You don't think it's going to work?
Probably it will work. Probably it will work. Because everything in astrology is connected with light.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't see such event, probably it will not affect you.
Okay, so it's not.
Maybe these words maybe will be start of mass migration to some place. Whatever. So, but this is not the case with the next solar eclipse that will happen on 15th of February, but we will talk about this later. So, in general, the last days after 24th of January are not so good because still we have the phase of Saturn, which in general also is a marker for danger. Because Saturn is giving the consequences and including the bad consequences.
And now they become visible.
Bad things can happen as a consequence of mistakes in the past. And we have the influence of Mars in different ways. So combination of Saturn and Mars must makes us careful.
Okay.
But also I can say that even this can be extended until the 3rd, 4th of February. You'll see now why. On 1st of February, Mars and the Moon will coincide in Scorpio. The Moon is not considered to be a good planet in Scorpio. And Mars will be very close to an important fixed star, and the Moon too. The star is called Antares, the heart of Scorpio.
Mm-hmm.
So this makes a powerful combination that can create any kind of havoc and violence. In general, it's not a good day for making new things. Remember that. Don't start new projects, new relationship. Don't buy a car or something like this on last day of January, 1st of February, 2nd of February, especially on the 1st. This is the most difficult time of the month. Also, on 31st, Mars is conjuncting important star in Scorpio called the Crab in the head of Scorpio. That is considered to be a malefic star, so its influence will become stronger. Later, on 2nd of February, Saturn will make a conjunction with warrior-like star in Sagittarius. The star is called Nunki. It is star from the bow that Sagittarius holds in his hand. So in general now, Saturn is in conjunction with the stars that are forming the bow and the arrow of Sagittarius. And in all times, this place was considered to be connected with war.
War, yeah.
In general. So Saturn is stressing about the prospects of war, and this is about to happen. I'm hearing the news that, for example, Turkey is making an invasion in the borders of Syria. Right now. This is happening now. So obviously those warrior-like stars, they will act in certain parts of the world. And this will affect the world of politics, even in European US.
I would love it if next time, if you have some software to show us how the planets are moving through the stars. There are a lot of free ones as well that it'd be fun
Okay,
to watch.
I will do it. I will do it.
That'd be fantastic, perfect.
Just,
Then
yes, I will
some
do it.
visual
So,
props.
for the lovers of modern astrology, but in connection with sidereal science, I can say that on 3rd of February, we have a very important event. And this is that Uranus is entering a new sign. On 3rd of February, ingression will happen. Uranus is entering Aries.
The sidereal areas.
Yes, sidereal sign,
Relation, yeah.
Aries. And I think that this will give the results of some maybe war that is intending to free the people in some country. And also this will intensify the feeling of importance of democracy and freedom in whole world for the next 7 years. For the next 7 years, and important events will happen in February in that respect. So Uranus is entering aggressive sign, and many people and countries and peoples in general can become ready to fight for their rights.
Yes.
Yes.
I like
independence. The time of independence is about to begin. 3rd of February. Also, of course, Uranus there can give a lot of scientific revolutions, especially in the field of energy, because Aries is such sign connected with energy.
And guns.
And even this can happen very soon because of the ingression. Okay, so much about Uranus. I can speak a lot, but let's talk about the lunar month. So this will come to the moment when Venus will start to prevail and will become visible on 7th of February. And this will be the most important thing until the end of the month. So in general, the next days after that are very good.
Good. So after the third, guys.
Yes, yes. So on 15th of February, there is a solar eclipse.
Mhm.
It will be not visible in Europe, but it will be visible in US.
Okay.
So it will affect US.
Very partial one, though. It's not a full one, but it's kind of like the little brother of the big one that happened in August.
Yes, but it is suspecting the eclipse that happened in August.
Exactly, it's exactly opposite.
And so on. Yes. So the eclipse is happening in constellation of Aquarius. First, probably this will create a situation where there will be probably more conflicts about freedom and democracy in the US, because the main thing for US, because Aquarius is the sign of their 10th house, being ascendant Taurus makes Aquarius the 10th house. So there will be eclipse in the 10th house of the chart of US. Obviously, this will create some tension connected with the people in power, with the political parties, and it will be in relation to the rights of the people. But the eclipse is not making an exact aspect with some planet in the chart, so it's not probably so much important.
Still, it activates the previous eclipse.
Yes. But what to say? Because US in general, they are in the period of this past eclipse in August, so we cannot say that all the time everything will be fine in US. With such an eclipse that happened, we cannot say this. I am not.
For how long can we be on our toes here?
Having in mind that I saw also other things about the chart of US, I don't think that this or next year the people in US can be very peaceful, or that
2.5 years lasting.
yes, in general, very careful in US. The country is going to such events that I will talk about in some other video.
It's volatile.
Yeah, but difficult events. Not this year. Not this year.
Mm, okay.
So, but this year is leading to the next year.
when all hell will break loose, there is an expression.
Yes, but there are some difficult aspects in the chart of US. Let's comment. Let's comment because Saturn is going to be on the cusp of the 8th house on 7th of February. This is not good because on the opposite place stands Venus that is ruling the chart of US. So in basically, Saturn is not only making entering 8th house cusp of the US chart, but also is making opposition to the ruler of the chart of US. So in general, we can talk about different kinds of difficulties coming, including financial things.
And Venus is in the second house, according to that chart you're using.
Yes, so maybe there will be some financial crisis of some sort. And also some leading personalities in US can have great difficulties. And most of all, because Saturn is entering 8th house, and Saturn is ruling the moon in the chart.
The what?
I think this means great political crisis. Great political crisis. And maybe this crisis will be on the ground of finances. And maybe taxes, because 8th house is connected with taxes.
Taxes. Yeah.
So trouble connected with taxes are coming.
Here, so
But in general, also, 8th house in ancient astrology is considered to be the house of calamities, consequences of past sins. So anytime if bad things can happen, like violence or some natural disaster, because of this opposition.
Okay.
Yeah, not so good about US. Not so good.
It started with the perfect lunar month, and it got me totally.
Let's remind again about in relation to US that Venus, even receiving in the natal chart opposition from Saturn, on the same day she will become visible in the sky. This time marking a day from where the country will start to become stronger. So this is better because the last 2 months, obviously, with invisible Venus, the country must have been weaker.
So crisis, but they become weak, but they become stronger. But money we have to be careful with money.
And people there later in February and in the months after will feel better in general too, because of Venus being visible. Yeah, but really, these are rare aspects. So I cannot soften so much my words because this is, after all, opposition coming from Saturn, and opposition from Saturn it gives usually a great disappointment in some area. So Venus is showing that this can be finances or the world of justice and law.
Yeah, because Venus rules those.
There can be crisis in that places in the country. There are also helping aspects. Whatever, if anything, I think that this is not the worst year about US.
There's worse to come.
but it is coming a really interesting year. Maybe we'll have to make a different video for this.
You mean for the worst year of the USA?
For the interesting year.
Okay.
Yeah,
Let's think, yes, because crisis equals opportunity, and you know how the Chinese say it. So
yes, about the Chinese, yes, there is a curse. I wish you to live in interesting times. This is the curse of a Buddhist monk to invaders in China. He was unable to tell them something bad. So he speaks like this.
Interesting. And just on a small note, in the comments, people say we make a good couple. Obviously, we're color coordinated by chance today. Just to uplift a little bit.
Whatever, really good news. I think that in general, for the common people, because of the perfect form, shape of the lunar disk, and because of Venus coming to be visible, this will be in general a very good month. So don't worry too much. This is a good month for all. You can plan to do new things and to strengthen your relationships after 7th of February. Also, new endeavor.
It's not gonna be so, you know, so life and death.
Yes, not so much. In general, for the world, ancient rules are saying that this is a very good month.
Wonderful to hear that. Because of Mars activating the eclipse point, I'm a bit worried now, and then the other eclipse activating the previous eclipse. But
yes, you know, but always somewhere must be something not so easy.
yeah, of course.
But the main thing is that
we're protected.
in general, the whole world, the things will be good.
And on a personal level as well.
Especially on a personal level, because Venus is a very personal planet, ruling what we all desire, and this is peace, harmony, love. And they were somehow lacking in the last 2 months, and so this will change.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Trifon, for spending your time on enlightening us mortal humans with this knowledge from ancient times. Every time is a humbling experience learning from you. Thank you so much. People look forward to those monthlies. And if you'd like a reading with Trifon, you can access from the link below his profile. And usually he would answer within 2-3 days. You can schedule. So yeah, thank you so much again. Wishing everyone good eclipses and to enjoy the fruits of the perfect lunar month.
And especially the coming of the goddess of love.
Yeah, prepare February, the month of love. We're gonna make a big bonanza with with a big video with astrological knowledge about love around that time. I'm preparing something for you guys. So thanks so much, Trifon, again. Thank you, everyone, for participating in this.
Thank you, too. We will speak again around probably between 17 and 20 February, around that time, for the beginning.
Join us.
Thank you all.
Hospital while I'm giving birth. No, that's a month after. So.
Okay.
Maybe the next one we won't make
it. We'll see.
Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.